The TVC News at 7 and the TVC News at 10 are not like any other news broadcast.
It's the big news hour, the hour for the big breaking stories.
We've got some of the best reporters on the field,
Taking you through as it happens.
It's fast-paced, hard-hitting,
With investigations that matter.
bringing in news that affects your life.
With sport, entertainment, and business news so you don't miss a thing.
Experience resourceful coverage with depth.
Every night.
TVC News Adedoja Salamadini emerged winner of Lagos reporting category at the 30th Diamond Award for Media Excellence as the isolation centers filled up and many Nigerians living in denial.
And thank you for staying with us. With a global economic downturn that has seen governments of many countries struggling to get by and cater for the masses, the need for more people to achieve financial freedom has become imperative. This is why GTEx Global, a multinational organization, put together the Global Wealth Festival, an event that has transformed the lives of many and placed their feet on the path to transgenerational wealth. The Global Wealth Festival will be holding for the time in Nigeria in its commercial capital, Lagos. The event is themed on how you can grow your finances and your business despite recession or living in a third world economy. Well, joining us now is the convener of Global Wealth Festival, Dr. Stephen Akintayo. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
Hello, I'm hearing you faintly. How are you doing today?
Very well, thank you. Now, let's begin with what inspired the Global Wealth Festival originally.
Well, one of the things I realized that the nations, the level of crime in nations is a function of the wealth of the nation. And the wealth of a nation is always tied to the wealth of the individuals in those nations. When you count 100 richest people in the world, you realize that most of them are in America. Hence why America, is the biggest economy in the world. So the same thing, if we want to begin to see that happening, we have to invest in educating our people on how to build wealth. Wealth is not just money. But money is an important part, an ingredient of building wealth. And if we want to really, really make Africa great, then Africans have to learn the principle of wealth creation. And it's not taught in the university because the university curriculum was structured in the industrial era where people, big multinationals needed employees. So they needed the educational system to groom them for being workers and employees in those big companies. Now, the world has since changed. We no longer have all these big factories anymore. What we need now is people become entrepreneurs or intrapreneurs. And that, unfortunately, is not really in the university curriculum.
So is this why it is tailored towards the youth, or is it open to all ages?
It's open to all ages, definitely. Everybody's welcome. Everybody wants to build wealth, young, old. But Nigeria population, as we all know, voting age is about 70% young people. So definitely we'll have a lot of young people coming and being impacted by this event. But it's open to everyone.
Now, this event has been held in places like Dallas and even the UK. What has been the recorded impact?
It's been huge. It's been really, really huge because the issue of racism, and I've shared this oftentimes, that you can't end racism until you end poverty among Black people. And we can't end poverty until we start teaching Black people the concept of, assets and liability. If every money I have, I'm using it to show off, buying cars and doing all of that, instead of owning, businesses, owning assets, owning land and houses. If that culture continues, we will never build wealth. So we also realized that among Africans in diaspora, in this part of the world, many of them get to those parts of the world, and all they do is still trying to get a job, $10 an hour, $15 an hour, and literally working for more than 15 hours a day, and not even thinking of how do I build wealth. You know, nothing wrong with having a job, nothing wrong with getting a job, but as you're getting your salary, can you put something aside for investment that eventually make money work for you? And the conference then opened people's mind. We brought American billionaire Grant Cardone, who is worth $8 billion in Dallas, and was able to break down how he built his wealth in the US. And people were shocked. In the UK, in London, we had amazing number of great Nigerians who were doing well. Alexandra Musu has 2 Guinness Book of Record. So how did he break that market to building wealth in the UK? And we had an amazing success. So it's a ton of, coming back home, like they said, Joe Dabile. So now it's Lagos edition, and we're excited to have it.
Now, what you've just explained, talking about people working for $15 an hour and all of that, is some of the things that a majority of Nigerian youth are embracing now, speaking about the Japa syndrome. And one is wondering if this global wealth event, talking about this global wealth festival that you are coming up with, will be able to change the minds of those who are planning to also japa, and perhaps give them this sense of hope is not lost.
Well, there is really nothing wrong with japa, honestly. Our forefathers japaed, just that, why are you japaing? That's the question. From Inamzi Adzikwe, Obafemi Awolowo, Tafawa Balewa, they all japaed to the UK to study. But many of them returned, they worked for a brief period, returned back to Nigeria, and of course, fought for independence. So there's really sometimes nothing wrong with Japan. It's just, why are you Japan? Are you Japan for the sake of getting exposure? I mean, we as a company, for example, we're not just based in Nigeria, we're in UK, US, and Dubai. So nothing wrong. Can you penetrate? The world is now a global village. And however, why people are having to run from Nigeria is that hope is being dashed by our political leaders. They are not giving people a sense of, particularly young people, country will be great. That is something special about this nation. And what we do at the Global Wealth Festival is to streamline the conversation to that nation and say these are the opportunities that exist in this particular nation. So what we will be doing at the Lagos Global Wealth Festival is bringing people who are successful in Nigeria, who have been able to make it in Nigeria. And so you'll be able to see that you don't necessarily need to japa to succeed. And even if you then japa, you must do it right. It's not to go there and become a liability to those nations, but to be an asset. We're having a situation right now where Nigerians are being banned. If I was having a meeting here in Kenya with some of politicians based here, some senators in Kenya, and they were telling me that even here in Kenya, and that it's become a global thing in Dubai. And I remember saying to them, I said, but this happened to China, this happened to India at some point. And at some point, they figured out their political leadership. And what is now happening, instead of China being known for counterfeit products, Apple is going to China and say, you know what, you can produce Apple phones cheaper. Just do it for us. And I said to them, I said, that will soon happen to Nigeria. Very soon we'll get the political leadership right. Very soon, Nigerians, and I said, see what's happening with the tech industry. Most big multinationals are relying on Nigerian coders. So I said, even the so-called Yahoo thing, you will soon see young Nigerians drop crime and focus on becoming tech entrepreneurs. And in no time, we will be known for something good. And that's really what we want to open people eye to. Where are the opportunities? Where's the money? What do you need to focus? You have this energy. You're young, you're youthful, and Nigeria is blessed. We have everything. And there's no reason why we're where we are. And until the people change, even the leaders won't change because the leaders are a reflection of the people.
Now, speaking about leaders, let's look at perhaps the unique factor you would say that Nigerian leadership is lacking, and that is something business leaders can easily do.
Well, I think one of the major things that we're having as entrepreneurs, in the business community, is we are not having government engage us enough. Of course, when it's election time, you see politicians gathering with the business community just for the sake of vote. But when they get into power, the real conversation of saying, this is what we want to do for your sector, and this is the policies we're coming up with. What do you guys think? I think that is missing, and we need to fix that. In developed nations, you see that the entrepreneurs contribute immensely in governance, because there's a difference between politics and politicking and governance properly. So I feel that entrepreneurs need to get involved in governance, but it's the politicians that have to allow them and not, mix politics into it. I, for example, want to be able to do my business. I want to be able to criticize government and not have the fear that government will come after me and then they will send tax people after me. They will send these after me, regulatory authorities, just because I've, spoken against a particular policy that I think didn't make sense. So politicians have to allow entrepreneurs to breathe and be able to get a bit involved. And when they are criticized, we can say, okay, you know what, you say you have solution. We're not going to give you a political appointment, but can you come up with a policy that we can adopt? That's the kind of engagement that needs to come in. And I think entrepreneurs are going to be willing to do that.
But from what you have seen, do you think that the business community has given a sense or are positioned themselves in such a way that the government will be forced to pay attention to them and do the needful?
We're in survival mood. Everybody's in survival mood. So there's no. My point is, people don't want to even be out there, right? The reason why some of us are able to be out there is because we are not based in Nigeria. We have businesses in Nigeria, but I'm not even based in Nigeria anymore. So you can see some entrepreneurs being vocal if they are not necessarily resident in Nigeria. But those who are resident in Nigeria are really being careful, right? Nobody just wants anybody to meddle into. They're trying to survive. I mean, you know what's going on with the dollar naira. Their business is trying to survive, and they just don't want to meddle into. I mean, just leave us alone. Let's just thrive. I think that's the position. But if the politicians can begin to say, hey, we need your contribution, and we promise you, we're not going to come after you. This is not, we need to make this nation work. I believe some of you who have succeeded in your private enterprise can give us a lot of strategy on how we can succeed publicly. I still think that there's more on the part of politicians, but we in the private sector, we're always willing. I mean, this event is sponsored by one of our company, GTEX Homes, literally paying all the bills to get the event to work. Because when you look at the caliber of speakers, the venue, whatever is being charged for the event cannot even cover cost of the event. So we're having to do that. And I see a lot of companies doing that as well, having to come in, not every, but a lot are doing their best. You can't even, we're into real estate, you can't even start any work in any place without a money coming to say, hey, we need something, give us something. So you don't even have a choice. The system taxes you, but I think government and those in politics needs to engage us better.
Now, speaking about government and its engagements, what are your thoughts on the new CBN directive on the redesigning of some Naira notes and the proposed cashless society? Do you think that Nigeria is ready, in your opinion?
Well, in my opinion, it's a good news. For example, monies that have been swallowed by rats, by monkey, by snakes, that can't find its way to the bank will become illegal tender. And so it's a good way in a way because you have that situation where a lot of black money, will be rendered powerless. However, you're also seeing that, factor where there's now pressure on dollar because a lot of those who have illicit money are having to go launder it, change it to dollar because of this move. But I hope government is able to manage it well. The redesigning is overdue, and there's nothing wrong with designing the notes. We need a cashless society. We need most of the money to go through the bank so that the funds can be transparent. These are legitimate earnings. We hope the government gets it right, but in my opinion, it's a good move, and we hope that somehow, we can find all the missing money back somehow.
But do you have concerns with regards to how this might affect businesses?
I don't think so. Legitimate businesses can be affected except for the rise, the fall of naira because of the pressure on dollar. That's affecting. I mean, even us, we have to structure that going for all our real estates are now going to be pegged in dollars, right? So even though you're paying us in naira, the price points in dollars, and if you're paying installment, what is left has to be valued in dollars so that we don't run into the situation whereby what you eventually gave us over a period of time when paying for your house or your land is actually not enough to be able to build what we promise you. So yes, it has its impact, and that's why I say I hope the government find a way to manage the fall in naira and the pressure on dollar. I saw that as EFCC has started going after some bureau de change. Hopefully, it can be managed well. We just hope so.
All right, let's come back to the event, talking about the Global Wealth Festival. We see that you have an array of speakers. What informed your choice of speakers?
Well, one of the things we had to do is to get speakers who have results in the areas they are going to be talking to us about, and oftentimes I'm big on the fact that I just don't want aspire to acquire and just empty motivation. We want people who have tangible results in their field to come and teach people how they can succeed and the opportunities that are there. And for us, we had to assemble those quality speakers. Some of them, like Les Brown, Robert Kiyosaki, Brian Tracy, had done a recording for the event, so they are not coming physically, but will be able to watch the recording teachings that they have for us for the event. And then we have some of them who are coming physically for the event. And it really, really is an exciting one. And I'm happy that we are, again, the narrative about hope. We hope the event becomes that event that gives young people, Nigerians, hope that they can still make it in the country. It's possible. I started my business with $10, 1,000 Nigerian naira, and we're in 4 continents of the world today, 14 years after. And it's a proof that you can make it, even in Nigeria, and you can go global, even with your business. And for me, I just want an opportunity for us to replicate that in as many people as we can. I hope that subsequent edition will even have a lot of other great speakers. I hope to see Dangote and Otedola come for those kind of events and share, because hope is what Nigerian youth need. Hope is what Nigeria needs. We can always solve our problem if you can give us hope.
Now, we see that you have an array of internationally acclaimed speakers. So is this event free? Who can attend?
So the event is in itself is not free, but what we've done is to subsidize the cost of the event. And we were even given a further discount for people who can go to the page now. You'll be able to even get 50% discount if you're able to use GWF Lagos. That's the code. You put it there, it even further reduce the price for it. But that's for those who are taking advantage of that today. And they can get extra 50% discount on the event. But it's for everyone who is looking forward to learning how to build wealth legitimately and looking for principles to wealth creation and meeting those who have done it, asking them questions, and being able to follow. Success is, you can easily replicate success. Success is predictable. Just look at those who have done it and follow their footsteps. Success always leaves clues. Dr. Cosmos Maduka started his business in Nigeria over 40 years ago with 200 naira. He's going to be sharing with us how he's built it to become a multi-billion-dollar empire today, right? So this is tangible events. I mean, these are people who have done it, right? And they have the result, and they're just sharing that with others.
So how can people get to register to be a part of it?
So you want to visit www.globalwealthfestival.com. Just go to www.globalwealthfestival.com. There is an opportunity for you to join us virtually. So there's a virtual ticket option. There's a physical ticket option. The conference starts from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturday, this Saturday, 5th of November at Civic Center via Lagos. However, there's also a dinner. So for those who are buying VIP tickets and above, you also be part of the dinner. We have Bovi, we have Daddy Freeze, we have Buju, several artists, and it's a networking dinner. So a lot of the speakers will be there as well, and you're able to really interact and hopefully, wealth, your network determines your network. And when we talk about this concept of building wealth, it's also a function of the quality of people you know that can influence and help you on the journey of building wealth. So you can go to www.globalwealthfestival.com and use the coupon code GWF Lagos to get a 50% discount if you're getting your ticket today.
Speaking about growing finances, so one quick question before we let you go. Yours is a global business. What is the main key that is obtainable in perhaps those economies where your businesses are that can be adapted in Nigeria?
Well, one is to do business. You don't need to know anybody to do things outside Nigeria, in the UK where we operate as well, Dubai, US. I don't need to know anyone. I don't need connection. Once my business is legit, the concept is legit, I'm able to start. And so another thing is also ease to fund. A lot of the businesses, I remember when we opened our US business, the first question when we were opening the bank account was, how much loan will you need? That was strange. Okay, that was very strange to me. Like, I'm just opening their corporate account. I've not even done this. You're already asking me, what loan will I need? But that's what is obtainable in those parts of the world that we struggle to get in Nigeria. If you're running business in Nigeria, it's having to be your business, your own liquidity. You're struggling to get. And when you even get the loan, the interest rate is ridiculous. The pressure is heavy. And so we hope things get better. We hope we crack that code. And that's part of why we're hoping that many of us, I'm not interested in contesting anything, but I'm interested in sharing what I know with those who have been elected to make the nation work well. Because we've seen how things work in other places. We know they can work well in Nigeria as well. We just hope that those who have decided to say, hey, I want to go into public service, which means that I'm available to be accountable. I'm willing to work with everybody, whether they voted for me or not, whether they like me or not, whether they're in my party or not. I'm willing to work with everybody to move the nation forward. And those are the kind of things I hope we'll see in the next government, irrespective of whatever comes, that we will see that culture of saying, even if you didn't vote for me, as long as you're Nigerian, let's work to move the nation forward. And I pray that.
All right. Convener of Global Wealth Festival, Dr. Stephen Akintayo, thank you so much for your time on the program.
Thank you for having me.